Hi, okay, so today we're going to do a little cooking video and we're going to be making these cheese straws. You need to use your oven, so you will need an adult to help you with this one. Okay, let's get started. So, hi Bishop, today my son Oscar, who's up there, and we're going to make cheese straws. It's not a recipe I've made. I remember my grandma making them when I was little and we thought it would be a fun way to relax after we've done our homeschooling. So if it goes wrong, we're going to go wrong altogether. The first thing you need is a mixing bowl, and we're going to put in 100 grams of plain flour. That goes in. These are all your dry ingredients. That means they're not wet. A little pinch of cayenne pepper makes it a little bit tasty, just a tiny bit of that. And a little pinch of salt as well. Okay, I'm just going to give those a mix. I'm using a blunt butter knife to do this because in a minute you're going to add more things in. Okay, then I've got 50 grams of butter and that goes in, and I've cut it all up into little pieces because I'm going to do something now called rubbing, which is the way you make pastry. This butter's really cold and out of the fridge, and you just start doing this action with the butter and the flour. You can see I'm tearing mine up because I think it was cut in too bigger pieces. Okay, that's going to take me a while. You just keep rubbing very gently, pick it up, let it rub over your fingers until it looks sort of breadcrumbs, almost sandy. Okay, so we'll come back when I've done that. Okay, so that took a little while and I've gone to wash my hands again because you get it all caked all over your fingers. But you can see all that butter is mostly mixed in now. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm just going to pop that to the side, is we're going to add our wet ingredients. Now, this counts as a wet ingredient. It's not really wet, is it? It's solid, it's cheese. I've got 50 grams of cheddar cheese and that's going in. Wow, that looks like a lot of cheese. I suppose they are cheese straws. And then to hold it all together, we need the yolk of the egg, and that is the yellow bit inside. Now, I'm just going to show you how I do this. I tap it quite firmly on the side, and you get a little crack. Turn it over and put my thumbs in the crack, and as you gently open it, you want to tip it so one half holds the yolk, and then all the white, the clear stuff, goes out into the bowl underneath, and then you can very carefully pour it back into the other half and let a bit more white out. There's all sorts of funny little devices you can get to doing this, but this is the simplest. Keep going back and forth until all I've really got left there is the yolk, the yellow bit, and that is the bit I'm going to put in our cheese straws. The white I'll use in an omelette or something later. Okay. Now this is where this knife comes in. It's not a sharp knife, it's just a butter knife, and you're going to start cutting through the flour and the cheese and using it to mix it with a sort of slicing action until it all starts mixing in. Okay, so I'm going to keep chopping away at this, and it's not quite sticking together yet. So I'm going to add a tiny little drop, just a splash, cold water as well. What we're looking for is this to start sticking together. So I'll be able to start squishing it into a ball. You can see it's not quite there yet. Okay, so you're really not looking to get it too wet. Mine still doesn't look like it's going to stick together, but I bet if I get my hands in there and start squishing, I'm going to be able to get most of it to stick into a ball now. Okay? Can you see how I have to tip my bowl and kind of squidge it? It's a bit like when you're doing Play-Doh, isn't it? With any pastry, you want to keep it as cold as possible before you cook it. So what we're going to do is I'm very quickly going to wrap this ball now in some cling film and then put it in the fridge for half an hour. You about right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my dough has been in the fridge now for half an hour and it's nice and cold. It's quite hard. And I'm going to roll it out on this surface here. So I've just got a little bit of flour. I'm going to sprinkle all over to stop it sticking. And I'm going to take it out of the cling film and we'll get rid of that. I'm going to put a little more flour on top and on the rolling pin. We're going to try and roll it out sort of as thin as we dare, really. So roll one way, then turn it and roll the other way. You can see I'm squashing any flaky bits at the side back in again. Put on a little more flour if it gets sticky. Okay, so I've rolled it out quite thin. It's a bit hard to show you. Sort of thinking like about biscuits really. It says in our instructions to use a ruler, but I don't have a ruler at the moment, so I'm just going to try and cut these very straight. I want to cut them into like cheese straw size things. I don't know how big they need to be. Going straight down the middle of them. You don't have to make these in a straw shape. You can make them, use a cookie cutter and cut out circles and stars. Anything you think looks good. And then we're going to bake them in the oven. I've had the oven on to warm up at 200 degrees. And again, I didn't need a sharp knife to cut these. So this should be something you can have a go at. Because we have to use an oven to cook this though, please don't try this on your own. This is definitely something you need an adult to help with. So I've just trimmed off the lumpy bits at the end. Some of these are really long, so I'm going to make them half as big. I'm never very good at making them even. I think if you were doing this for a party or something, you'd try and be a bit more careful, wouldn't you? I might even cook all those spare bits too. Okay, so I'm going to cut them all up and then I'll show you them when I've got them on the tin. Okay, so this is a big flat baking tin and I've brushed it over with a little oil. You could rub it over with some butter. That's to stop them sticking. And I'm just going to lay them out on here. I have made them all different shapes and sizes. I think they all fit. So if your oven is good and warm at 200 degrees and you get your adult to pop them in there, they should take just about 10 minutes to cook. And they should apparently go golden brown. Like I said, this is the first time I've made them. I'm not quite going to fit them all on, so I'm going to need to get another tin, but we'll cook these guys and have a look at them, shall we? I'll put one down that side there. Put that little one there. There we go. Okay, I'm going to pop them in the oven. So these have been out in the oven a little while. I've let them cool down. I can touch them now. I've made sure that they're cool. And I'm just taking these off with a little spatula and putting them on a cooling rack to cool down a little bit more. They've come off really easily. Okay, and I'll try not to touch them too much. With the little bits we couldn't fit on the first tin, Oscar and I tried making some shapes and they've also come out really well. So there's no reason to waste any of your dough. I'm sure you can make something with them. Okay, and then we've got, make a nice arrangement on some plate and you can have some dip with them or whatever. But they look really yummy. Oscar has already tested one and they're fine. Okay, so have fun, get an adult to help you make some cheese straws.